if I ever had a video that just didn't want itself to be recorded, I couldn't get done, it is this video. I know I said that I wasn't going to narrate anything because I was feeling under the weather and a little stuffed up, but you deal with my voice normally, so I figure, you can deal with it now. Plus, I'm bored, not feeling like doing anything because I'm a little tired, so this is what I got. So, let's get into this match. So, this is the last match I have backed up on my computer that is Heart Gold Soul Silver on, and I'm not sure if I'll do anything more with that format, except I do still have those Battle Roads videos that I kind of need to organize because one cuts itself out, so it's kind of complicated, but this is when I'm still on that kick playing Zekrom Electric Terrakion, which is, still a really good deck. A lot of really well-known players played it for nationals and everything, and, that's actually kind of questionable how good it is because of, their performances. Good players playing good decks should theoretically do well, especially when there's so many of them, but nationals was a complicated issue, and we can talk about that later if you're interested. So, I do see that he drops down the Darkrai, which basically is what finally tells me what deck he's playing, and I'm not surprised he's playing Darkrai Terrakion. It's a really good deck, and this is going to be a really interesting matchup. He has Terrakions for me, but at the same time, I have Mewtwo, which is a good answer to pretty much everything in his deck. I think that Mewtwo became incredibly underrated during the Nationals format, just about, and really Battle Roads is really where he was, because he is so good, even against Darkrai. People say, oh, Mewtwo can't respond to Darkrai, but, even with the Eviolite and Resistance, you're still hitting for an extra 20 due to the energy on him, and Darkrai decks don't always, they do a lot of the time, run Mewtwo, and if you don't run a Mewtwo to beat Mewtwo, you can just go crazy with those energy drops and just start really just wailing on Darkrai's. Anyways, he's going to have to pass, and I'm going to be met with a really, really complicated decision, which is, do I Juniper away my Terrakion or not? And I want to bench a Terrakion, but at the same time, I only run 2 Switch. I know he's going to be able to catch him up and, take advantage of that. So I decided to Juniper, I decided to get rid of it, and I actually hit a really good hand, so I'm okay with this decision. I hit the Electric, and I'm going to be able to get another Level Ball for another Dynamo. So, I'm in a pretty good spot at this point. I decided to Dynamotor to the Smeargle, just knowing that at some point I'm probably going to want to promote it in Portrait, and I'll have the energy attachment for it now, and I'm just going to Outrage to that Smeargle and do 20 damage, because, why not? Just off chance, I need a Electric Ball or whatever for KO and that Smeargle for game, that 20 will matter. But spoiler alert, I don't think it does. So he's going to Ultra Ball away some stuff and try and get out another Smeargle, which I'm kind of surprised that he went for Smeargle. You already have one out. I guess he's afraid of the KO, and I guess he really needs it. He knows what he's kind of suggesting. And he's going to Portrait me, and, he's going to get a whole new hand. So Portrait's working pretty well for him, even though he does discard the Special Dark there. He is drawing through quite a bit of his deck. Things seem to be going, relatively well, despite the weird number of energy drops. And he's going to attach Eviolite to Terrakion, which I don't really see what that does. I guess it prevents the plus power one-shot, but that's about it. Plus power one-shot with Zekrom. It's Bolt Strike, if I wasn't being clear enough. But, that's a fairly unlikely occurrence anyways. I do run 2 plus power, though. And I guess, Mewtwo will probably still be able to 2-shot fairly easily no matter what, and one-shotting Terrakions is fairly difficult as is. And, yeah, Terrakion would 2-shot anyways, so... And I probably wouldn't use Terrakion on Terrakion, but that is beside the point, and I am rambling, as I so often do. So he's got 2 energy on that Darkrai, 1 on the Terrakion, and he's going to move his turn to mine, and I'm looking at I accidentally discard my hand when I meant to, I forget what I meant to do. I think search my discard, to see what I was going to play with Junk Arm. And I'm going to actually mess up and not take an extra lightning energy. I did have 5 cards after I drew. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but, I guess it doesn't matter too much in the end because everything's just going to get Junipered anyways. But I Junk Arm for Level Ball and just get out another Electric because, if I'm getting rid of that hand anyways, I might as well set myself up. And I hit a pretty darn nice hand. I hit a Dual Ball to search for stuff if I want it. I hit 2 catchers, and I'm going to use one right now. And this is where the misplay is. I have to waste my Shaman here, as you're going to see. And, that's kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, still getting stuff done. Shaman's really good for this matchup, but Yeah, I guess I don't like that play. I'll just say it. That was a misplay on my part, but we'll see how that affects the game down the road. So I'm gonna get this Bolt Strike off on a Dark Clawed Darkrai, which is really nice. I know I'm in two-shot no matter what. Evil-Eyed Zekrom really does work on Darkrai too. It's really probably the most underrated counter, the most overrated being Terrakion. Granted, Terrakion is still an amazing counter and is the best counter, but I think people underestimate how hard it is to retaliate. But that being said, I still have 120 damage on him. He's going to retreat, and we do know from his previous turn when he random receivered, he has the N, so I should be nervous that I'm going to lose my catcher, and I might not be able to kill that Darkrai until later on. And I do hit another catcher though, and I also have the Super Rod, so this is a really good hand. I'll be able to get back that Terrakion and that fighting I was forced to discard earlier, so I should have my Terrakions ready, and I'll hopefully be good to knock out some Darkrais. So he's going to Portrait me, and he gets, 2 options. I'm assuming he'll Oak. He's discarded a lot already. I think he's portraited 2 Junipers. And he accidentally does discard his hand, but he meant to take an Oak. So he's just going to, put that all back. And hopefully he didn't, do what I did and, mix things up. But he's going to Catcher me here, which is kind of annoying more than scary because I don't think he really has anything to respond with. So he puts an Electric up in the active spot. And as much as, that should concern me, it just doesn't really. But it does leave me with a decision now that he can't knock it out. I was kind of hoping he'd knock it out, actually. But I'm going to Super Rod for sure. That's the obvious play. And I'll take a Lightning because I'm required to. And I'll take the Fighting Terrakion because I want them. And at this point, I really could have liked the Dual Ball just to get out of Mewtwo and probably put 2 energy on it. But I'm going to play the catcher, and this is a big play. This is definitely, kind of determines the momentum of the game. And I catcher out that Darkrai, and I pawn, and I hit the Junk Arm, which is really key. I think I'd only played 1 Junk Arm and 1 Switch, so that means 4 cards in my deck that effectively work as Switch, plus 2 DCE, which I still run at this point. I'm not sure, where I stand with DCE in this deck. It's kind of a complicated issue. It really helps for Mewtwo, and it helps retreat Electrics. So I had 6 cards to retreat Electric with. I do hit one of them, which is really big. And I have the catcher already played. He hasn't moved it yet, but that's still out there. And I'm going to be able to Bolt Strike, and I'm going to take the first 2 prizes of the game. Without an EX on the field, that's a really, really, really good thing to have done. It puts me in a really good board position. I have the more consistent energy acceleration, and I'm taking the first prizes. So I'm really feeling good about this game at this point, and I'm just going to Bolt Strike for KO. I should go up to 40 damage on my Darkrai, but it doesn't matter. He's got that Terrakion, which I'm assuming he's going to use. Kind of surprised he doesn't try to Portrait here. However, the only supporter I do have in my hand is a Juniper, and he might be afraid of that. He also gets a second Dark on his Darkrai, which is, quite a bit. If he could Dark Claw, he could be hitting for what? That's 130? So that's a pretty impressive damage output for Darkrai with the 30 snipe on the bench. And he's just going to retaliate for KO. So now the problem I'm running into is that my, I don't have any attackers out. I do, however, have a Smeargle, so I'm just going to drop the plus power to thin the cards in my deck. At this point, it doesn't look like plus power should be too important, and I haven't played a Dual Ball yet. So this is where things get a little messy. If I Portrait into the Juniper, I lose most of my fighting energy, and I've already played my Super Rod, but he does have the Professor Oak's new theory, which is really, really big. Can't tell you how much that saved me. And look at the hand I hit. Whew! So I get out a Terrakion and a Zekrom. I actually benched the Zekrom, and I double Dynamotor to it, which is kind of, a surprising play, I guess, but at the same time, I don't really want to waste this Terrakion on another Terrakion. So I Bolt Strike, I take 50 damage myself and do 110 to him because of Eviolite. So actually that Eviolite really did matter. I kind of said plus power is unlikely, but I would have taken the prize there had it not been there. he's just going to retreat, and he can because of Darkrai's ability, which is what makes Darkrai Terrakion a really good deck. And he is just going to, do the exact thing I want him to, except for the fact that he drops down that Eviolite, and I had just played the plus power. Really kind of puts me in an awkward spot where I need to hit the plus power. And he's just going to refresh out his hand with that Pont. He probably doesn't want me to be abusing that Pont. If he's not playing it, I am, which is probably worse for him. And he's going to put 30 on that Dynamo, which puts a lot of pressure on me, and he ties up the score on prizes. So now the big play comes out, and it's, can I get off the Retaliate with the plus power? So I'm going to Pont here, and if I hit the plus power, it's huge. I hit the Junk Arm, which is the exact same thing at this point. I'm hesitant to figure out what I want to Junk Arm as my second card aside from the Lightning, and I pick the Fighting, knowing I already have the one Fighting. It's a little risky, but at the same time, I think I have to go for it. And I'm going to Dynamotor, and I'm going to be able to Retaliate, and that's a huge 2-prize KO. So instead of him being able to Night Spear, now it's questionable if he'll be able to Night Spear at all. And in addition to that, I have the prize lead. Things went well, simply put. So he's going to promote Smeargle, and I'm feeling pretty good. He benches the Terrakion, the Darkrai, which is the play I really question here. I already have the Fighting Energy on there. I know I've played a lot of catchers already, but when you have a Terrakion threatening like that, it's hard. It's a hard decision too, because I don't know the contents of his hand. I know he has the Retaliate for 90, but I don't know if he can hit that next 40 damage to knock me out. So he's going to attach and Dark Patch, which is all, pretty good. And then he's going to Juniper away his Juniper. And I don't think he plays a second Shaman. I'll be surprised. I just don't expect people to play them that often. But, if he has one, it'll be a big surprise to me. He's going to Portrait me for a Pont. And now he knows I have the Fighting Energy in hand. So he knows he shouldn't promote that Darkrai. Darkrai means I win if he just promotes it without the Eviolite. That's just game. So he's going to take the Professor Oak's New Theory off of his Portrait. And I think he needs another Dark Patch here. We'll see. He's going to go to the Terrakion, which is probably, the right play, if there is such a thing as a right play. And he's going to Retaliate and put me at 90 damage. I'm going to evolve into an Electric, which is going to take a lot of pressure off of my board. I'm going to attach the Fighting, and I'm going to Dual Ball to thin out my deck. See what's there, actually. So I have a Junk Arm and a Catcher, so I have 2 cards that do what I need them to do. I switch into the Smeargle so I can Portrait if I need to. And I'm going to Pont, and we'll see what I hit. And I hit the Catcher and the Junk Arm, which are both the cards I need. So I'll just Catcher out the Darkrai. I'll be able to Land Crush it for game. So that'll be the last 2 prizes and the game, of course. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's kind of a funny one where I just seem to hit that I really need, which, kind of luck sack this game in some senses. But at the same time, the 4 Fighting Energy Terrakions really do work effectively against Darkrai. And I think this deck really illustrates that point. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm glad I finally got it narrated. It took forever. I think this is like the 5th or 6th try just because weird things happen. So make sure you rate, like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and I will catch you guys next time.